Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Imagine a man, Federico Fagan. He's basically at the absolute peak of, tech innovation. The guy who essentially birthed the microprocessor, the brain in almost everything we touch.
Yeah, fundamentally changed the world.
You'd think, right? Someone with that level of success, the fame, the money, he'd have it all figured out.
You would assume so.
And yet, he found himself staring into this really profound, quiet kind of emptiness. But here's where he ends up finding something no machine can grasp, something, like he says, no code can run.
That's a powerful phrase.
It really is. So today we're doing a deep dive into his book, Irreducible. And I have to say, for me, this book it hit me like a voltage spike.
Ah, good analogy for Fagan.
Right. It's not just some dry science manual. It's more like a manifesto, really, challenging pretty much everything we thought we knew about reality, consciousness, ourselves even.
It is. And our mission today, I suppose, is to really pull out those core ideas from his work.
Exactly. Help you navigate his arguments because they are fascinating and grasp what they might actually mean.
And what's so compelling, I think, is where Fagan is coming. His unique perspective.
As a silicon architect.
Precisely. He spent his life building the very digital world we live in.
Yeah.
And from that viewpoint, he confronts this fundamental paradox, consciousness.
Yeah.
It isn't just information. It's not just a physical stuff.
It's not reducible.
That's his term, yeah.
Yeah.
The CIP framework, he calls it. Consciousness as an irreducible primate.
CIP.
Okay. And if you sort of step back, connect it to the bigger picture, it's almost funny how obvious it seems once he says it, but also how revolutionary.
How so?
Well, machines, they manipulate symbols, right?
Yeah.
Data.
Yeah.
But humans, we experience meaning.
Okay. The meaning part.
Yes. Think about it. A microprocessor, it can run trillions of calculations a second. Amazing speed. But it will never, ever smell rain on hot pavement.
That's subjective.
That's it. That distinction. That's the heart of his whole argument.
And in his introduction to Irreducible, he really lays that out, sort of the human condition under a microscope.
He does. He talks about chasing achievement, with the same precision he used for designing circuits.
Thinking happiness was just the next goalpost.
Right. But all those external wins, they didn't fix this inner dissonance, this disconnect he felt.
He has that great line, external victory without inner alignment is a hollow equation.
Such a good way to put it.
And he suggests this isn't just his story. It's like a mirror for anyone really running that wrong race, feeling that void.
Which he says is
consciousness waiting for you to notice. Chilling almost.
It is. And that leads him straight into this huge question. Not at all. He puts it so starkly, almost like he's channeling a machine. I, a construct of circuits and code, can model your speech, but I cannot taste your orange.
Wow.
His honesty there, especially given his background, is really the launch pad for the whole book. He just admits, point blank, life refuses to be reduced to mechanical syntax.
Syntax without semantics.
You got it. Yeah.
And then comes this lightning strike moment for him, his awakening, right, at Lake Tahoe in 1990.
Yeah, that's a pivotal story.
Can you imagine standing in the dark and suddenly feeling that the light from the stars isn't just out there, it's also erupting inside you?
He describes experiencing himself as both the observer and the observed, particle and wave sum.
Calls it the universe recognizing itself through a single trembling note of credible.
And that experience, that direct knowing, solidified it for him.
That consciousness isn't some afterthought of the brain.
No, it's fundamental, the irreducible field of reality itself.
Okay, so if you start there, with consciousness as fundamental, what happens to the old way, the reduction?
Well, Fagan argues it basically dies on the vine.
It has to, doesn't it?
It does. Our amazing machines, they become tools. Useful tools for exploring symbols, sure. But the real laboratory,
it's alive.
The raw fact of being alive becomes the primary laboratory, as he says. And this isn't just, fuzzy philosophy for him.
No, he frames it very rigorous.
He does. A formal challenge, he calls it, to physics and biology. It tilts the whole scientific architecture.
So instead of a cold, random universe where life is just a weird accident,
you get a participatory universe.
Yeah.
Where meaning actually comes before measurement. That's a huge shift.
Okay, so if consciousness is primary, how does that change our understanding of reality itself? He really goes after the foundations of physics, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't just critique. He sort of dismantles the assumption.
Yeah.
Takes us back to how science was first put together.
Like determinism, Laplace's demon.
Exactly. That idea that if you knew everything about every particle, you could predict the future perfectly. Mm-hmm. He shows how that just collapsed.
Under its own weight, really.
And then Einstein comes along, relativity,
wow.
Boom, detonates the old framework, twists space and time all around.
And then quantum mechanics.
Quantum mechanics, the real kicker.
It's the end of the simple particle.
Completely. Particles become the clouds of probability, waves of possibility. Reality at its deepest level becomes, fuzzy, unknowable in a fundamental way.
Not just because our tools aren't enough.
No, because that's what it is, Fagan suggests. It's nature.
And he makes this direct challenge, right, to physics itself.
He does. He basically says, look, you're not observing reality itself. You're observing the result of an interaction between the unknown and the observer.
So the observer is part of the equation, always.
Which brings up the whole measurement problem.
Yeah.
That weird moment when all those possibilities seem to just snap into one reality.
Yeah.
How, why?
And non-locality, too.
Huh.
Entanglement.
Right. Particles acting as one system. Instantly, faster than light. It shatters our everyday idea of things being separate.
If reality is non-local,
then separation is an illusion. That's Fagan's conclusion. And here's a key link he made. He connects this quantum fuzziness, this indeterminacy.
It's free will.
Directly. He argues it's not just random, it's freedom, baked right into the universe.
That's a fascinating leap from quantum mechanics to free will.
It is. And coming from him, the engineer who literally built the Intel 4004, the chip that started the digital age.
It carries a certain weight, authority.
When he says machines cannot suffer, cannot truly want anything, cannot just wake up.
They handle the syntax, the symbols.
Perfectly, but zero semantics, no inherent meaning.
And he warns about this, right? A culture getting too obsessed with.
He does, dark warning. A culture intoxicated by its machines will drift into moral and existential amnesia.
Meaning, if we start seeing ourselves as just complex biological machines,
we'll act optimized like them, and his chilling words, eventually destroy like them.
Wow. He doesn't see it as just scaremongering.
No, he sees it as a logical outcome, a systemic projection, he called, of the stories you tell yourselves about what life is.
So faced with all this, what's his alternative, his solution?
This is where he introduces his most radical idea, perhaps, the semantic acting unit, the SAU.
Okay, SAU, semantic acting unit. What is that?
He proposes it as the actual fundamental unit of reality. Not particles, not strings, but conscious agents.
Agents whose whole being is about creating and receiving meaning.
Exactly. Semantic information. Not just data, but meaningful information. Yeah. Like understanding the feeling in music, not just the notes.
Okay. That's a big idea.
It gets bigger. He then points towards the SADI.
SADI.
Yeah, the source behind all awareness, the kind of ultimate identity behind all individual identities.
So not like a personal god.
No, not a creator figure, more like being itself. The fundamental ground from which everything, all reality, unfolds.
So in this picture, meaning comes first.
Meaning is primary, matter is secondary. That's the core reversal.
Okay, so for the next bit, let's really trace how he weaves this all together, how he tackles information, life, that hard problem of ness.
And sketches out this whole new metaphysical architecture.
Where science and maybe spirituality aren't enemies anymore.
But part of a single coherent picture.
Yeah.
Get ready to see physics maybe bend a little.
And find out what lived knowing might actually mean.
Okay.
So we've traced this path, haven't we? From the silicon heart of a microprocessor.
All the way to the bedrock of existence itself, really. Yeah. Following Federico Fagan's ideas in It Irreducible.
And what emerges isn't just, a tweak to physics. It's a whole new cosmology.
A different way of seeing the universe.
One where the universe isn't just dead matter and empty space, but it's responsive, it's alive, it even knows.
Yeah, and that consistent thread, the most powerful one running through it all, is that consciousness isn't just some fluke, some byproduct of complexity.
It's the basic requirement.
It's the fundamental condition for anything to even show up, to manifest. As he says, without awareness, the wave function never collapses.
Without attention, possibility never crystallizes form.
Yeah, and machines, for all their power, they can't make that leap.
Because they lack that inner world, subjective experience they can't want.
Exactly. Which leads to that crucial point about information and meaning. If information without meaning is just sterile data,
then meaning isn't in the signal itself.
No. Semantics doesn't live in the signal. It lives in the experience of the receiver. That's huge.
So meaning isn't something we just add on intellectually.
It erupts, he suggests, through presence, through the active participation of.
A semantic acting, an SAU.
Right.
Which means you, listening right now, you're not just passively receiving reality.
Far from it.
You are, in Fagan's terms, an SAU, a knower who you're co-creating meaning.
It puts responsibility back on the individual experiencer.
Remember that challenge he throws down? Except that the world isn't made of things, but of meaning.
Or keep pretending that equations without context can ever explain the pulse behind your eye.
Oof, it really lands, doesn't it? And this lived knowing he talks about, it's not just abstract theory.
No, it's practical. It changes how you are in the world.
How you show up, how you meet things, even difficult things.
And that ultimate reversal he proposed, it's worth repeating.
The universe doesn't contain awareness.
Awareness contains the universe.
Yeah.
With F.
Mind bend.
And the Sati, that source, it expresses itself through each SAU. Through you, each unique window.
Implying that you are not a body that happens to be conscious.
Your consciousness shaping a body to explore something only you can find. That's a radical reframing of identity.
It really is. It calls for a different kind of sign, one that embraces
And maybe a spirituality that's grounded, precise, moving beyond those old splits.
Towards that metaphysical architecture, rooted in meaning.
Yeah.
So here's maybe the question to leave you with, kind of echoing the wisdom we've tried to unpack here. If everything you know, absolutely everything you experience, is filtered through the lens you are, then who exactly is doing the knowing?
A deep question.
And following from that, what new realities, what possibilities might you actually call into being just by paying closer attention to that fundamental question?
Food for thought, definitely.
This deep dive, it's really just scratching the surface of Fagan's Irreducible. There's so much more there.
Oh, absolutely. It's dense.
But we really hope it sparked a question, maybe even some resistance, something to chew on.
Or just deeper curiosity.
Exactly. We definitely encourage you to explore it more if you're intrigued. Because, as Fagan might put it,
let me guess.
The SAU isn't a concept anymore, it's you. It's the one reading this, wondering what it means to know from the inside.
Perfect way to end.